on. Every day's resurrection day. Past is over and gone. Goodbye guilt, goodbye fear, good riddance. Hello earth, hello sun. Rise above and overcome. Life anew has begun. Every morning is Easter morning from now on. Every day's resurrection day. The past is over and gone. Daily news is so bad it seems. The good news seldom gets heard. Get it straight from the Easter people. Love's all around, spread the word. Every day is a new adventure. Whole world's open to me. I belong to the Easter people, unlimited and free. Every morning is Easter morning from now on. Every day's resurrection day. The past is over, it's done. Every morning is Easter morning. Every morning is Easter morning. Every morning is Easter morning from now on.
All right. Oh, Linda Ackerman. It's so wonderful. Thank you so much for that. Oh, and good morning, good morning, good morning. How is everyone this morning? It's a beautiful, beautiful Sunday, isn't it? Yes, it is. I'm going to invite everybody to take a look at your screen because we're going to continue to do this song that we've been doing the last couple weeks. But you're going to see the faces of these beautiful people in our community as they pop up, and you can sing to them. That's what I say. Because we're a community, we're a spiritual community that is celebrating love. So let's celebrate love by singing to our friends who are all on the screen in front of you. Take a look at the person next to you. Say, I recognize the light in you. Feel the love you were born to be. Lift your voice, repeat after me. We come together. 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 In the name of love, we come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. I love that. Doesn't that feel good? This is one of my favorite songs because it's always a reminder that as I look at the faces of every single person in my sphere, that what I am seeing is the face of God. Because we are all the face of God. So let's acknowledge that today for sure. Take a look at the person next to you. Say, God loves me and God loves you too. Feel the love you were born to be. Lift your voice, repeat after me. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love, we come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love, in every walk of life, in every creed and color, in kinship we unite to honor the light in each other. Take a look at the person next to you. Say namaste, I bow to you. Feel the love you were born to be. Lift your voice, repeat after me. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love, we come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of We do indeed come together in the name of love because we are this infinite presence and power of love. We are indeed. So again, welcome to this beautiful Sunday morning. We are a spiritual community, and we are here to teach practical tools for a better life. That's at least what my ministry is all about, and it's what I bring to the fold here at Unity of Tucson. And you know, it's been an interesting time as we've been working to integrate two communities, the Tucson New Thought community and the Unity of Tucson community, because everybody thinks that, oh, there's going to be all of these differences. And what I know is that there's actually a lot more that binds us together. We are the same at the end of the day. And we're teaching the same things. We're teaching love. I mean, that's really what it boils down to, right? We're teaching love. So it's such a pleasure to have you here this morning. It is my belief that we can precipitate our own spiritual evolution. And that has been the thrust of what I've been here on this planet to teach, especially for the last 10 years as I've been a minister. And you know, I think it was even part of when I was a musical theater performer. I was always interested in what's the next thing, and what's the next thing, and what's the next thing. And ultimately, that was that spiritual thing inside of me saying, go, 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 go. I do want us to start today. Let's begin with understanding the words of our mission, which is, you know, the mission of Unity of Tucson is something that I think we need to really look at. And as we read this together, it is important that we not just read it by rote because it's been read all the time. We need to really deepen into our understanding. What is the feeling that comes up for you as we read this together? Check in with that. So let's read this together, shall we? Within the principles of unity, we are a ministry of love, inspiration, learning, wholeness, acceptance, and joy that empowers all people to embrace their divine nature. I'm one of those ministers that says something that shakes it up a little bit. And that is to say this, that, you know, and I'm going to work through it logically because not everybody in this community will have heard it yet, but everybody that I've brought have all heard this because it's what I talk about all the time. You know, we teach a principle that expresses that God is infinite, that love, this infinite power of creation is infinite, that's all that exists. That's the fundamental premise of what we teach. And so I'm one of those ministers that will stand up here and say, you know what? I know who I am. I remember who I am. I am God, and so are you. Because if we say anything else, then what we are saying is that God is finite because there's something other than. So allowing ourselves to live within that principle of creative expression, which is all that God is. God is the energy of creative expression. That is how we engage this mission. The mission is the practical way to engage that vision. I believe personal transformation is possible. I believe it is probable. And I believe it is our work to awaken to our magnificence. Everything we do, everything I offer is in service to this goal. And so the tenets of this vision in ministry are simple, and they are as easy as you decide for them to be. And they are these: love only, forgive everything, remember who you are. Love only, forgive everything, remember who you are. And in remembering who we are, I know an infinite truth about you, and it is this. Are you ready? You are magnificent. You are magnificent. So what I would love for you to do is take a moment, go into the chat function of the video, and acknowledge the community that are watching with you. Acknowledge the family that are watching with you today, and let them know, say hello, let them know their magnificence in your own unique voice. Take just a moment to do that. And I want to acknowledge and say hello to Linda, to Adam, to Raphael, and to Laura, and to Ray, and Don, and Carrymon, and let you all know that I see you. I know that you are absolutely magnificent, and it's such a pleasure to have you in the room today. All in service to make sure that we can put this video out there for you. And so as you wrap up acknowledging the people online, I'm going to invite us all to relax right where we are. And as we take a few minutes leading into this time of centering, of quieting, just a couple minutes of reflection on the good. I'm going to invite us to use this month's affirmation. And as I've been saying, you can allow it to serve as a mantra for yourself for this time that we're taking of a little bit of quiet. And as I read it out loud, you can allow yourself to hear it in your own mind and in your own voice, speaking to yourself. And the affirmation is this: I am infinitely connected, healthy, and prosperous. I am infinitely connected, healthy, and prosperous. And so if it's comfortable and you'd like to, you're welcome to close your eyes and allow yourself to hear the affirmation: I am infinitely connected, healthy, and prosperous. And with each breath, allow yourself to settle into that notion of being connected, healthy, and prosperous infinitely. Taking just a few moments to let that be at the forefront of your thinking.
I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. I will release any fear that blocks my way. For every step I take is taken in pure faith, and I am grateful every moment, every day. My mind is willing and my heart is open wide. I trust my instincts and let Spirit be my guide. I vow to live a life that's real and true and free, as I continue walking in this mystery. I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. I will release any fear that blocks my way. For every step I take is taken in pure faith, and I am grateful every moment, every day. And I am stronger every moment, every day. Yes, I am kinder every moment, every day.
As we bring our attention and focus back to this time, this place, this experience, wherever you've been during that. I love that song. it just allows me to lift up and kind of,
It's beautiful.
yeah. We're going to do our ritual of lighting the flames of faith. Laura is here again to help by lighting the candles. Thank you so much for being here. And so in this ceremony that we do every week, it is an acknowledgement and a deep understanding that all religions, all faith traditions, all spiritual paths are all rooted in one thing and one thing only. They're all rooted in that divine golden thread of love. And so for each candle that we light, this is what we are knowing. And so we first light a candle for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light a candle for the shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous people, the way of primal spirituality. We light a candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light a candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light a candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. We light a candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. We light a candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the divine will of love as the highest calling. We light a candle for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. We light a candle for all forms of new thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. We light a candle for all those who are as yet unaware of the power and presence of spirit in their lives, and for the space that we are holding for them, and for all faith traditions unnamed in this ceremony. And this final candle we light is a candle to represent the healing of any circumstance that requires divinity to be revealed. For that is the true nature of healing, the revelation of the divine in any experience, in any circumstance. And so this is your candle for whatever is in your mind and in your heart that requires the light. Thank you, Laura. When I was studying ministry in Southern California, we had this guest singer come down to our spiritual center, to our church, one Sunday. He was from Edmonton, Ontario. Or no, Edmonton's not in Ontario. I should know Canada better than I lived there. Edmonton, Alberta. And boy, he was a revelation. And what I found out is he actually was on Canadian Idol. He was one of the contestants on Canadian Idol. And he wrote this song, and I have been moved by this song ever since I first heard it. So I wanted to sing it for you today. This one's for the undiscovered geniuses. Or is it genii I never knew? Who write and paint and chisel in their bedrooms, known forever by the last name Who. I know you're out there, I know you're in there, but common knowledge doesn't know the jewels below. You never had a hit song on the airwaves. You never broke out from the local scene. You didn't paste your walls with famous faces, and you prefer the window to the TV screen. I know you're out there, I know you're in there, but common knowledge doesn't know the jewels below. jump before the camera. The wisest people hardly ever speak. And every time we're sent a perfect teacher, we miss them 'cause we overlook the meek. I know you're out there, I know you're in there, but common knowledge doesn't know the jewels below. I know you're out there, I know you're in there, harmonizing hearts and hands, making stained glass from sand. This one's for the folks who know they're precious, but no more precious than the garbage man. I kiss you on a cheek, not on a poster, 'cause genius wants a lover, not a fan. I know you're out there, I know you're in there, but common knowledge doesn't know the jewels below. I know you're out there, I know you're in there, harmonizing hearts and hands, making mirrors from sand. I know you're out there, I know you're in there, but cover stories can't uncover the true lover. Thank you. Thank you. I should have said that is a song written by Martin Kerr from Edmonton, Alberta, and he and I have become friends over the years, and grateful for him and the music that he is putting out in the world. It's magnificent music. If you have an opportunity, you know what, I don't usually pitch people to look up, but I'm going to pitch. Look up Martin Kerr, look up his music, because it's really special. It is very special. So, as I thought about singing that song today, I know you're out there, I know you're in there, I know you're out there, I know you're in there. One of the things that I work to do is in the message that I'm going to provide on a Sunday, I allow myself to listen to the music, to listen to the lyrics, to really look at the lyrics, and allow what is coming up through me to just come up and speak to that on some level. And it actually goes right in alignment with what today's theme is, which is the next chapter. Which I chose these themes before I actually even knew I was going to be coming to Unity as the minister here. I chose these back in January when I was thinking about, well, what do I want the tone of this year to be? And so the vision of 2020, is the theme that I've taken on in my ministry for 2020 vision. It's 20. I'm not really clarifying. You know what? I'm going to say it, and then I'm going to really get clear on what it is I'm saying. I'm getting ahead of myself. What I'm trying to say is this. For 2020, the overarching theme for me is 2020 vision. I mean, that seemed appropriate. It's 2020 vision, allowing ourselves to engage our own vision and let that be the guide from which everything unfolds. So what is our 2020 vision? And I also love to do monthly themes, and the monthly theme for April is harmony and wholeness. Now that I had not come up with until right at the end of March, and it was in response to everything that was happening and is continuing to happen in the world that I feel like we can use a lot more harmony and wholeness in our lives, and so that's what I wanted the theme to be. But this idea of the next chapter really resonates with me today. And I'm going to align it a little bit with one of the lyrics in the song that repeats itself consistently. Of course, you hear, I know you're out there, I know you're in there. But this one lyric, common knowledge doesn't know the jewels below. Common knowledge doesn't know the jewels below. And I think about this idea of common knowledge. And we've all heard it said, common knowledge is not that common. Have you ever heard that? Common knowledge doesn't know the jewels below. I had an odd reaction to this idea, to that notion. I had an odd reaction to this idea of common knowledge. maybe I don't want to be considered common. Maybe what I think, maybe what I believe, maybe I don't want that to be considered common. I think about people throughout history who were not common. Shakespeare wasn't common. Einstein wasn't common. Isaac Newton, Galileo, Michelangelo, Oprah, Lady Gaga, Buddha, Yogananda, none of them are common, right? They were all forward thinkers. They were all people who were rooted in what is next? What is the way that I can allow myself to evolve naturally? I said earlier that before becoming a minister, my life was devoted to performing. I was an actor and I was a singer. And everything that moved through me was, what can I do? How can I be that much better? Not just as an actor or a singer, but as a person. That's what really motivated me. And so that moment when I was sitting in a New Thought church on a Sunday, and I was dragged there kicking and screaming, but I sat there and I thought, that's what I'm meant to be doing. That was the illumination for me. That was very unexpected. And if I had rooted myself in common knowledge, I would never have discovered those jewels below. There is a benefit to bucking the trend. So the benefit of bucking the trend of common knowledge may be the releasing of our inner genius. And we are all genius. We all have genius to share. I believe this. I believe we all have inner genius. And when we give over to the inner genius, we create our dream life. Are you ready to create your dream life? Are you? I am. And I would think, I might almost say, many of you may be living your dream life, but what is the next dream? Because the nature of spirit, the nature of God is to consistently unfold itself in new ways and in more magnificent creation, and it is consistently flowing through in and as us. This is a fundamental premise to New Thought, to the unity philosophy, to the religious science philosophy. It doesn't matter. It's all New Thought. And I'm getting a little pushback. I'm just saying, I'm getting a little pushback because I do come from the religious science side of things, and I am stepping into teaching unity in some manner. And I've said it a few weeks in a row. It's all language because we're teaching the exact same thing. And fundamental to that is this idea. Thought creates. Thought creates. Our lives are the expression and the experience of our lives. The circumstances of our lives are the result of creative thought. Now, if we are in common thought, we are aligned with the collective, and that maintains the common experience, and that may or may not have benefit. Right now, I think the degree to which we are holding on to common thought is not benefiting the healing of this world. And so our work as people who know the truth and can use our minds and know that our thought creates, our work can be on the healing of the world, not all the detrimental effects that are happening in the world. Now, I also want to be very clear. We don't have to change the world. We don't have to change the world. But I want us all to also understand that we can, that we have the power to change the world. We can live our most extraordinary life, and no one would ever need to know. We can live our most extraordinary life, and no one would ever need to know. We don't need to make our lives about what's out there. I think fulfillment ultimately is inner work. It's inner work. When we are focused on our inner work, here's what happens. The outer world takes care of itself. When I began my life in ministry, I was rooted in an idea. I was rooted in an idea about what my ministry might look like. And we're encouraged to do this when we are in ministerial studies. We're encouraged to say, what is your vision for ministry? What do you think it's going to look like? How do you think it'll unfold? What? And what I have discovered is that while I have set ideas into motion, those ideas, the idea of what my vision for ministry is, it's always in a constant state of forming itself. One thing I knew, beyond a shadow of a doubt, is that I wanted accessibility for everyone. I wanted anyone who wanted to, anyone who might be out there looking, to be able to find this ministry easily. I wanted people to be able to find it easily, to find the truth that resonated for me. As I express it, I wanted people to be able to find that. So I insisted from day one that my ministry be virtual. From day one. Going all the way back, I helped establish a virtual ministry when I was the administrator for Spiritual Center in my ministerial studies. And then when I became a minister and I went to Toronto, Ontario, I, from day one, said every single one of my messages will be put online. And as quickly as we can get to it, we are going to go live and broadcast on the internet live. And when I left Toronto and I came to Tucson and I was starting over all again from just a tiny little seed in Carrymon's in my sister's backyard, a tiny little seed, and I said, it's very important to me to ensure that not only are we meeting here in person in her backyard, but we are going to also be online. And so I set up a whole online infrastructure to ensure that from day one, I was putting myself out there in a virtual way. So that was fundamental to the vision. Now, at that time, I didn't know that that decision and the actions that followed would ultimately become a necessity in ministry. I mean, who knew, right? Right now, virtual ministry is a necessity. What we have to offer, the messages that we have to offer, it's become a necessity to express it in this particular fashion. And it's not easy. I mean, I'm going to tell you, people have said, wow, you're really going for it up there, and you're really able to engage and keep it going. And I say, yes, I can, and I will also tell you it's not easy. It's not. Because the interaction of people in a room helps a lot. So this has been a challenging time, right? But I know that my mind creates. And if I'm looking for what the next chapter is in this thing called ministry, in this thing called life, I know that I have the power within myself, because one alone in consciousness constitutes a complete majority. I know that I have that which is within me, which allows this to morph itself into what is necessary for the good of the whole. So while virtual ministry is a necessity, and that is the way that we are engaged, and that's the way that we are communicating, I know that it won't always be that way, but it will always be part of the paradigm. I knew when I started, I had the dream of being virtual. My spiritual family didn't just need to be in the room. And you know what? Even being virtual, my spiritual family is not just in the room. I want to give a shout out to Blessing Akpanabasi, who watches us from Nigeria and has been very engaged in this time that I've been here in Tucson. We have connections of people who watch in Cuba. We have people who are watching in Australia, Italy, India. We have people who watch from all over the world. And you know what? We are connected. We are one family. We're not connected just by tech. We are connected by this infinite creative thing that is driving and flowing forth as life. We are one people living on one planet. We are one family. And let us never forget that who I am here in this moment is just as effective for someone halfway around the world, just as they have an effect on me. We're in this together. And I think the more we root ourselves in that, the more we heal, the more we come into common community. So the dream is the key. The dream for whatever may be coming up is key. And not from an ego point of view. It is not a dream that I think should be rooted in, I want to have. I believe that the dream from the notion of, I want to be, is what is key here. And for me, that is a capital case, that is an uppercase ego, entertaining God only. Entertaining God only. So today is all about the next chapter. And so my question to you is, and this will probably become the joke here, as it did for the last 2 years in our tiny little postage stamp spaces. When I ask a question, I have to clarify whether it's rhetorical or not. So this is rhetorical. I want you to bring this to mind and allow yourself to simply resonate with whatever comes up for you, and don't judge it, just allow it to be there. If today is all about the next chapter, then the question is this: what do you want to be? What do you want to be? And allowing whatever presents itself to come up through you. Imagine a day. Dream of a day when your world looks like what you want it to look like. Would it be the same as it is now? It might be. How might it be different? What might you need to change in your own life to allow this vision to come to fruition? And then do you have the willingness to make the change? It all starts with willingness. And from willingness comes activity. Now, it's not a necessity that you engage in this unless you want it to be. The next chapter is entirely up to you. It's entirely up to you. Who we are as a spiritual community is up to us as a community. And I really, really, truly, deeply look forward to the day when we get to gather in the same room, in person again, knowing that we have a global family always. I am so looking forward to the day when we get to come together. And you know, the integration of two communities is so exciting to me. And while there's been a little happening online, you know, imagine what it's going to be like when we're in the room together. This idea of activating the next chapter can be alive in your heart. It can be alive in your heart. So, what is your inner genius offering? You don't need to be Shakespeare. You don't need to be Oprah. You don't need to be Lady Gaga. You don't need to be Buddha. You don't need to be anything other than you. Because you are magnificent. You are this magnificent creative source. You are God. When you are your authentic self, you cannot help but allow that magnificence to overflow from within you. Your fulfillment is an inside job. Nobody ever wants to hear that. They want to be fulfilled by the things out there because advertising tells us that that's how we will be fulfilled. But fulfillment is an inside job. And so I want to end today's message with a story about someone who created a next chapter for themselves. In 1982, a woman named Catherine decided to live her next chapter. Now, she had been a psychiatry nurse for most of her career, psychiatry nurse and a housewife in Chicago, and she had this dream. She had a dream to be a performer. And so in 1982, she was 42 years old. She decided she was going to take the leap. She had just gotten a divorce. She decided she was going to take the leap and start performing in community theater. And so she did. And she had some success in community theater. About 10 years later, she was hired at Disney World as a street performer. So at 52, she goes to Orlando, Florida from Chicago and is hired and works for several years as a street performer at Disney World. That took her to Hollywood in 1995. And 4 years later, 1999, at the age of 60, she landed a recurring role on The West Wing, a television show. Now, I don't know if you're in the room, if any of you know that show at all. It was a beautiful, beautiful role. She was on that show for 2 years, playing Dolores Landingham, the president's personal assistant. And 2 years after that, she landed a role on Desperate Housewives. Catherine Jewston, at the age of 42, took a leap to live her next chapter, to really engage in her dream. Motivated not by a need for accolades, she just decided to live her dream. And that role on Desperate Housewives won her an Emmy Award. It was never about the award. It was about the next chapter. So I ask you this. What undiscovered genius is flowing through you right here and right now? What is it you might be sitting on? A dream, a light within. What can you activate right now? I think that this time that we have been given to distance ourselves, I'm choosing for myself to look at it as a period of reflection, as a gift for what can be. The next chapter for each and every one of us begins when you turn one day into day one. When you turn one day into day one, your next chapter begins. The time is now. The person is you. Be bold and live your next chapter. Namaste. As the band makes their way back up to the platform, I'm going to invite you to simply relax right now, right here in this moment, and let yourself reflect on any kernel of truth that has come up through you in today's message. It may be just one little tiny thing. You know, I tend to just go. I tend to just go, talk, and allow that spirit to simply flow. And oftentimes when I listen back to it, I'll find something that was unexpected, and I allow myself to resonate with that kernel of truth. So what's coming up through you right now? Let that be fully present in your mind as we take just a few moments to breathe, to reflect, to trust, to know. I know that there is that within each and every one of us, which is longing to be expressed in ways unexpected. Let us allow that to make itself known right here, just in this moment, in the silence.
In the silence there is peace. In the silence there is unspoken joy. In the silence there's release. As my heart opens up to the voice, I awake to these precious moments when I hear all that could ever be said, and right here in this holy silence I find God. I
I find myself in the silence. There is peace. In the silence there is unspoken joy. In the silence there's release. As my heart opens up to the voice, I awake to these precious moments when I hear all that could ever be said. And right here in this holy silence, I find God. Oh, I find God. I find myself. Thank you. Oh, this is the time in our gathering where we would normally, if we were in the room, pass the baskets and ask you for an offering. You can still provide your offering and support what we are doing here, support this ministry, support Unity of Tucson in our capacity that we are able to continue to, to allow us the capacity to continue to come to you in a virtual way. You can click the link, which is right there in the description field of this video, and that will take you to unitytucson.com, and use the PayPal link there to use a debit or credit card in service to contributing. You can also phone in your card number to the office Monday through Thursday on our regular business hours. You can also send in a check. Why do we give? We want to be here and we want to be able to continue to serve. And it is a reminder to me always when I give that giving and receiving are the same thing, because money is God in action. So as we activate this intention of support, this intention of giving, let's read together the divine givingness statement. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I joyously contribute to my spiritual center, knowing that it goes forth to heal, prosper, and bless, and returns to me multiplied abundantly. I thankfully acknowledge God as my source. And so we will do that by singing, God is my source. God is my source, God is my power, God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings, God gives me everything I need. Joy is my source, joy is my power, joy gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings, joy gives me everything I need. Love is my source, love is my power, love gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings, love gives me everything I need. God gives me everything I need. All right.
Good morning, everyone. Here are your Unity of Tucson announcements for Sunday, April 19th, 2020. Following the celebration, you can enjoy a virtual social hour, gathering in our online version of Harmony Hall using Zoom. The link to see some familiar faces and maybe meet someone new is in the description field of this video. Join us after the gathering today. We are also offering the opportunity to check in each weekday at 1 o'clock p.m. Arizona time using Zoom. Consider it a virtual coffee break with friends old and new. The link to this also is in the description field of this video. Join us online for midweek spiritual practice, streaming on YouTube and Facebook at 6 o'clock p.m. each Wednesday. Are you in need of prayer? Requests are being taken by sending an email to prayer@unitytucson.com. Don't forget that the activity of requesting what you need is the first step toward healing. The links to all of our virtual offerings can be found at unitytucson.com and tucsonnewthought.org. Keep an eye out on Facebook and subscribe on YouTube to keep up with everything that's going on. Thank you for being here and sharing your magnificence with us.
Thank you, Darwin. So I want to turn your attention to the candle here. This is our peace candle. And my idea around the peace candle is that as we keep it consistently illuminated, it is a reflection of the consistent illumination of peace in our hearts. And when we understand that that is the truth of our being, we proliferate peace from within each and every one of us, and it changes the world. So let's honor this candle with our prayer for world peace. If you'd say this with me, please. Divine love indwells each person and radiates from one to another. Harmony is established, and peace begins to reign in the world. I want to offer my gratitude to Don and to Karimon for ensuring that we are able to make this happen in a technical capacity. I want to say thank you to Laura for being here to light the candles and for your presence and your prayerful understanding of, what it is to be in consciousness. Thank you for that. I want to say thank you to Linda and Adam and to Raphael for being here and for playing and being such great musical partners and, helping me to become a better musician, by the way, as well. That's always important, right? I'm so grateful to you and for what you offer to me in my life. So thank you for that. As we complete our time here, I'm going to invite you to share with me the prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds me. I am that light. The love of God enfolds me. I am that love. The power of God protects me. I am that power. The presence of God watches over me. I am that presence. Wherever I am, God is. Wherever God is, I am. And so it is. Amen. Now there is peace on earth, for it has begun with me. Now there is peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Now we walk with each other in perfect harmony. Peace has begun with me, and this is the moment now. With every breath I take, this is my joyous vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Thank you, God, for peace on earth, for it has begun with me. Think of your fellow man, lend him a helping hand, put a little love in your heart. You see it's getting late, oh please don't hesitate, put a little love in your heart, and the world will be a better place, and the world will be a better place for you and me. Just wait and see. Wait and see. Take a good look around, and if you're looking down, put a little love in your heart. I know when you decide, kindness will be your guide. Put a little love in your heart, and the world will be a better place, and the world will be a better place for magnificent week, everyone.